Hey, how you doing? This is a completely impromptu live stream. I thought as I'm sitting here assembling stuff, I might as well stream it. I was just streaming over on Twitch, and I thought I'd just pop over here as well and do some streaming here. Hopefully you can see / hear me okay, because last time we had a few issues. Plus I had, for some bizarre reason, I had the camera set back to front, so everything you were seeing was backwards. Very strange. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to quickly let people know that I'm actually doing this. Bear with me. If I go there, and I go there, and I copy this. Okay, that looks kind of blurry. And I'm just going to stick it on my Facebook. There we go. Right, so what am I up to? I am snapping this. This is the frame arms white tiger model, and the plan is that this is going to be a kind of like a holy paladin style frame arms kit. The colour scheme not entirely decided, but the idea is to use a combination of both gloss paints and matte paints to create an interesting pattern on these armour pieces. I'll think about that once the thing is assembled. Over here I've got stuff that I've added loads of splodges of glue on. This is so I can remove some seam lines on these parts, and this is the knockoff version of the Koto cross gun, shaped like a cross, and it's absolutely huge when it's assembled. I'm hoping that it's kind of the same height as the model kit itself, because that'll make for a nice oversized looking weapon. And I've just started to snap off some pieces and assemble the kit itself. So there's going to be lots of sanding, lots of clipping, and not a lot of else going on apart from me rambling for a bit. And I'm planning to stream for maybe about an hour or so. We'll just see how it goes. I'm just kind of getting to grips with this whole live streaming thing, since I've seen lots of people do it, and it's definitely a lot easier to do than editing a video. That's for sure. But then again, I suppose, you know, when you make a nice video and you edit it nicely, you can show the whole process from start to end. So what I'm going to do is, actually, before I forget, I'm just going to hit record on here, just so I can keep it as my record. Now my stream health is telling me that it's gone down to orange, and I don't know what that means. Just being very careful not to over sand it, as this can happen. Normally on a nice straight edge I can just kind of scrape it off very carefully with a hobby knife, just until it's nice and flush. Yeah, that's good. Okay, what I'm doing here is that I have my usual 1 part Tamiya thinner to 9 parts water in this little diffuser bottle. And what I do is always give part a clean as I go along, just to make sure it's free of any like finger grease or any small particles of plastic. Just aids in the whole assembly process, and it also helps it to have a nice clean surface to paint on when I get to that stage. Probably should have just used the hobby knife there, but it's alright. Don't need to be super precise. So this is the last Saturday of 2017, and I've noticed definitely that the older you get, the quicker the years go. So it's kind of like, I don't know, a little bit of, is the year over already? And nice, a new year, we can do new things. But then again, it's just the same as any other time, really, so it doesn't really matter. I guess there's some kind of significance to some people. I just like to watch the fireworks. So I'm actually on the very first page here. I'm just doing these 2 sections here. It's interesting, it doesn't really say which part you're doing, like it does in the Bandai manuals, but I can guess. This looks like the torso. It's got an interesting torso. It's kind of like a bit of a strange shape. It has that kind of big tits thing on it. Okay. All clean. Okay, let's get rid of these knobs. So I don't really have any plans for 2018, although I was thinking earlier that I think I said exactly the same thing last year, probably even the year before. I will do a perfect grade this year. I was saying it on my previous stream that I definitely need to do a perfect grade just to free up some shelf space, and gives me it's kind of an excuse to buy more model kits. I guess the only model kit that I'm interested in getting for sure is the Master Grade Deep Striker. That's definitely a 100% thing that is going to happen, because I'm a very big fan of the Sentinel series, or the kind of Sentinel side story picture novel type thing. It's an interesting story, and it's such a different take on the whole standard Universal Century story of you know, teenage boy gets into Gundam, accidentally becomes great pilot. I think this is another reason why I really enjoy Stardust Memory, probably because the pilot is nothing special. He's just like this kind of gruntish, talented test pilot. He's a bit green, but he's not a new type. He doesn't have like these mystical powers that enable him to somehow be an incredible pilot. He's just well trained, which is all good. And he has his flaws. Be careful. Should I sand right down there? I'm not sure. Probably not. It looks like there's a kind of a notch that I have to be careful not to sand away. There's been many times where I've sanded away something when I shouldn't have done, and I did that on the RX-78 version 3.0. One of the connectors around the waist has this tiny little notch at the end of it, and I sanded that sucker away. I mean, thankfully the amount of paint that I put on there helped to secure it in place, but it's never the ideal thing to do. And so obviously that's plastic you'll never get back. So this looks like it's the neck. That goes there, this goes there. Quite a stiff fit. It's quite typical of Koto. It goes there. This goes here. Of course, some parts you have to be careful not to fully snap together, especially if you can recognise that you're going to have to separate it later on. And kind of just gently push it down, or maybe cut down the pegs a little bit, just to make it a bit easier for you to disassemble it. Because the last thing you want to do is to break it when you are separating it out for painting. But it's always a good idea to assemble it before you paint it. I actually used to not assemble it at all, and literally just cut everything off the runners, paint it, and then stick it all together. And then you end up with some areas, especially when you're doing a custom paint job, you end up with kind of odd colours in odd areas because you didn't really think about it. And this part, make sure I get this right. That part goes there. This part goes here. Oh god, yes. Memories of frame arms coming along now. These are really loose pegs in these holes. Right, need runner B. Runner B. And we need 19 and 21. 19. Oh my god, I'm so blind. 19, there it is. 19 and 21. 19. 19 and 21. If you see me peering over now and then, it's just because I'm checking to see if there's anybody in the chat, which there isn't. 19 and 21. I need G runner and the D runner. G, no, that's D, but when I've got it out, I've got to get D32 and 36. D32. And D36. And 32, 36, G10 and G9. G10 and G9. Actually, now I think of it, I should mention that the Mecca Lounge, which is a good old school forum at the meccalounge.com, now has, well, it's always had a Facebook presence, but now it has its own Facebook group, and we recently opened it up to members of the forum, just to make it easier for people to share stuff. And what we want to ensure is that it's not your typical Facebook Gundam group, because we all know how they end up. They end up a little bit messy. So the idea is to have like a Facebook group, but have it linked to the forum as well. So if any member has like a work in progress going on, you can always link it back to the forum. And if somebody asks for some advice, like on how to paint something or how to do a particular technique, we have it all categorized on the Mecca Lounge, so we can refer you back to that. And if it's a question that we've not answered, or we don't have an answer to, we will find out for you, and we will add it to our Q&A section of the forum. That way we save that kind of endless asking the same questions over and over again that you see so often on Facebook groups. It's kind of like an archive of frequently asked questions, because I know how hard it is as a beginner to actually get a straight answer and something from a resource that you can trust. Because I mean, thinking back to the days when I started, I got some terrible advice on how to do things, and I honestly thought that the best way to do Gunpla was to just use spray cans. I thought that was like how the pros did it. Obviously it didn't take me long to find out that that was not the case, but in terms of online material, that was kind of like the best I could find at the time. And that was until I found what was called the Mac forums, which evolved into the Mecca Lounge. So it's always been a place that's kind of close to my development as a modeler, and a place where I still develop, and I'm still constantly impressed by what people can do, and it's very inspirational. So if you're interested in joining up the Mecca Lounge group, you can visit the Mecca Lounge page on Facebook. I think it's just Facebook.com/Mecca Lounge, and there is a link in that, or on that page, to request access to the group. It's currently closed, and it's only closed because we want to see how popular it is, and we also need to figure out how to admin it because it's a bit confusing. If you already have like a Facebook page and then you create a group, it gets really confusing as to how to make people admins and things. But yeah, it won't be a group full of full of like backlog shots and people asking if Optimus Prime can beat up the Hayakashiki or not, and endless pointless bashing of Gundam Seed. And we welcome any skill level, as long as you are serious about modelling. I guess that's the caveat, really. So it's not just for everyone who is into Gundam and Gunpla. It's for people who are actually genuinely interested in learning and developing and becoming better modelers. So do come along and don't feel intimidated posting your work. You can post anything you like and you'll get proper, honest and helpful feedback, and that I can promise you. You won't get a you won't get some that's my trail of thought. You won't get negativity, because that's generally unhelpful. Somebody might say that's not very good, but they'll tell you why it's not really good and what you can do to improve it, and point you in a direction of some resources. So that's very recently opened. I think I only did it 2 days ago. So there's not many members there at the minute. But the members that are there are kind of all Mecca Lounge veterans, and they're all people who I have learned from. All very, very highly skilled people. And they're not dicks, which is always a plus point. All awesome individuals. Right. So nearly finished clipping this lot. I think what I'm going to do is, once I've finished this, cleaned it up and snapped it together, I'm going to stop this stream and I might start a bit later instead, because I think this time is a bit of a, yeah, this time seems to be a bit dead. But thank you to the 2 people who are currently watching. Yay, somebody's actually in the live chat. Hello. I hope you are good, Mr. Silver Maverick. Okay, good. Wipey, cleany, cleany. So strange. Normally this is like a sort of polycap material, but this one is not. Got to be careful here to keep it spherical. Let's use a sponge. These things are wonderful. These Tamiya sanding sponge sheets. Such a great investment. They last forever. I've had this one for like probably 2 years. Obviously, like I cut into strips so I can use it. So. They're very good for shapes that aren't flat surfaces. Oh, excuse me. I need a drink. Oh. Yeah, you're right. All the Americans are asleep. Damn you! Why are you sleeping? Unfortunately, this is like this is kind of like the only time that I can really do streaming. I mean, I might be able to do some later on, towards the evening, but that time is generally dedicated to gaming, gaming or watching the telly, watching some Netflix with the boys, with the fams. So it's always a little bit difficult to do Gunpla talk because it's so late at night. Sometimes it's hard for me to concentrate on what's being said, but it's okay. I do thoroughly enjoy that show, and I do coffee myself up before I go on. Right, let's assemble this thingamajiggy. Found you and another YouTuber that builds named Nowworks. Isn't I know him, he's Korean. He makes some really interesting things with what are they called? They're called, it's the same Kotobukiya line, frame arms girls. He takes frame arms girls and he attaches them to like iconic Gundams. He's done some really interesting works. Hopefully this is the same guy that we're talking about. But he's also on Facebook, Nowworks, so you should look him up. Really good, really interesting modeler. It's interesting when people do things like that, because as much as I'm not a huge fan of the artistic kind of art-based customs, his in particular are really, really clever, really good, really well done. Make sure I get the right parts here. This one goes into this bit, into there. Okay. No, I did that wrong. That goes into there. I should probably hold up at the camera so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And another one there. Am I going to have to do a seam line removal? That is annoying. This part goes into this bit here, and this goes into there, like that. Oh, I should have put that in first. Blimey, really? Oh yeah, okay. Put it in slightly wrong. And it goes into the back of it like this. It's a little bit fiddly. I just want to straighten that out. I'll get my metal poker. Straighten that out a bit. Right, and it goes into there like this. bear with, just making sure I'm getting it the right way before I attach this part, because these Kotos tend to be a little bit tight fitting. There we go. Interesting and weird. Right, now we need D31, D26. Whoa! Oh, Japanese, okay, maybe it's a different guy that I'm talking about then. But I shall look him up. Now works. I will look him up. D31. D31. And 26. 26. And we need the B runner as well. Oh, we've got a big bit coming. B1. That's interesting. Just noticed a bit of embossed detail on the back here. B1 and B30. 30. 30. There we go. Right. If you can see that. Can you see that? I'm just switched to my camera. Can you see that? Oh god. The light's a bit bright, isn't it? That's not helping at all. Basically on the back of this piece, if I can angle it right. No. If I do this maybe, I can focus in a bit better. Just to barely see it. There's basically a 2 moulded into the back of it, basically. I've never seen like an embossed like decal, I guess. Decal or marking of some kind on the back. It's unusual to see that aside from the usual greebles. Just clean this off a bit. Just been extremely careful here, hence the silence. Just want to maintain this nice sharp angle that this piece has whilst removing that nub at the same time. Nearly gone. And it's got a slight bend in it. It's not exactly straight. Interesting. Just realised I'm slightly off camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this out just a little bit so you can see my belly. There we go. Lovely. So this is the thing about painting and modifying your kits. It's got to be I reckon it's got to be at least 60% preparation, and then the rest is painting. Because obviously you gotta assemble the damn thing, but it's careful preparation will yield better results, that's for sure. And that's probably very obvious, but just using a 2000 grit sponge, just to remove any scratches that the sandpaper left behind. It's going to be primed and sanded anyway, but you might as well do your best to make the surface as nice as possible before you start priming. This part, just trim that down a little bit. I'm never too worried about stress marks. This is something that some people seem to be worried about. I guess you could be worried about stress marks if you are not going to paint your kit, that's for sure. But if you're painting it, I'm generally not that bothered, because the priming layer will cover that up anyway, so you won't see any kind of sort of white discoloration on the plastic once it's painted. That'll do. Let me give it a clean. Sorted. Oh, let me just switch windows. It's Grandfather Gunpla. Hello. Thank you for joining. Are you the same Grandfather Gunpla that's on the Mecca Lounge? That's a weird angle. Let's see if we can just lop some of that off without damaging the plastic. So nerve-wracking using a knife. I'm such a sissy. Okay. I think I got it. Oh, don't you just hate nubs in the most awkward places? Let's be very careful not to misshape the part. There we go. That's good. Thankfully there isn't a nub on the circular part, because nubs on circular parts are a piss take. Because you generally need to sand it down, you end up with like a circular piece that's got a bit of a flat bit on it, and it's really annoying. Let's trim you down. Let's trim you down as well. Oh, so awkward. There we go. Got it. Okay. Sorry for the silence there. It's just a. Sometimes you really have to concentrate just to make sure you don't lose any detail when you're sanding off these nubs. Come here, right. Pain in the bottom. Done. Right. Let's get this sucker on. Okay. Oh, you are? Okay. You are the same grandfather Gumper that's on the Mecca Lounge. Then welcome. I'm actually going to be ending the stream soon, so sorry. I'm just going to assemble this here. Okay, this is like a. This is the back of this. This looks different. Why does that look different? Oh, okay. No, that is it. It's just I'm looking at it at a strange angle. There and there. That's kind of weird. Oh, it's kind of tight as well. Phew, that's painfully tight in there. I'm just thinking ahead to how I'm going to paint that. We will cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so this goes on to there. Nice and straightforward. And then we have these two parts go. Oh, I need to put that on first. I'm not paying attention. This goes on this part here. Oh, I see. That's kind of interesting. Okay, and this goes over here. Cool, blimey, that is quite tight. But interesting. Kind of weird. Don't know if I'm enjoying this big seam line down the middle here. That is going to need to be fixed. Hello, Blue Speed 7. The 7th Blue Speed. Yes, I'd never heard of this kit either until I saw it. When did I see it? I saw it on Hobby Search, just in an email. And I thought, wow, I really like the look of that, so I picked one up. And I think like 2 weeks later, a new one came out that was black. And I think they'd made some kind of some improvements to the design. So, yeah, gonna paint this sucker up. It's interesting that how it fits on this kind of unit from the frame arms. It doesn't quite fit flush, but it does fit nice and tight, which is kind of odd. I guess they have to work with the frame arms in mind. So anyway, I'm going to stop this stream here. Thank you all for watching, much appreciated. I'll be back streaming possibly tomorrow, and at probably a more sociable time. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.